Hello my friends, it's Gabriel with the Last Huntsman channel here, and today we're out on this, well, was a pretty nice snowy day. Now it's kind of getting into the mid-30s, so everything's kind of melting, and under the tree canopy here it almost seems like it's raining. But I have a really neat knife here to show you guys here today, and it's a knife that I've actually liked for a long time. I just haven't always had one, but I always wanted to get one. I finally seen a model or a version of it that I really liked, and that is the Cold Steel Recon Scout. Alright, so let's talk about the Cold Steel Recon Scout. It comes with the typical Cold Steel Secure X sheath, which, you know, it's not Kydex, but I actually like these sheaths for what they are. I honestly don't think I'll ever change it out. And it does have this belt loop and such on there. I actually don't mind these that much. You know, is it kind of... I haven't really had one go wrong on me, and you can just secure snap it, but usually I don't even worry about that, and I just attach it to my pants, which is nice because you can put it on and off without having to take your belt off. Secures pretty well. I'm sure if I'm not like just shaking it real hard, but I'm kind of moderately shaking it, and it's secured in there. It does have a definite click in there, which is good. So let's talk about the knife. It's obviously polished. It's a CPM 3V version. Now it has like it's full tang. The tang goes all the way down to here, but it has this rubberized kind of grip on there, which I like actually. It surprisingly fits my hand really good. And now one of the things to really take note on with this knife is, as you can see, this thing is a chunk of steel. Like it's just a big ass chunk of steel. It's 5/16 thick of CPM 3V. So like this knife, I'm gonna expect this knife to be like damn near invincible. It's roughly about a 7-inch blade, and it also has kind of a slightly sharp swedge on here. Like, see how it does on some batoning here. Kind of has a slow start, but once it gets in there, it's popping it apart. Just exploded that piece. Try one more big chunk in here. Right through that knot. So this Cold Steel Recon Scout in CPM 3V, this thing has one of the most stupid sharp 90-degree spines. Like, damn, that thing, I'm gonna demonstrate this thing. This thing can throw a, like, alright, something to take note on with the Cold Steel Recon Scout is not only is the really sharp 90-degree spine great for striking a ferro rod, but it can take bark off really well here. I'm going to try to turn this into my new baton since my last one got thrown into the fire. Alright, so one of the things that really caught my attention with the Cold Steel Recon Scout when I first got it was, you know, it being 5/16 thick. I was like, okay, this thing's just going to be like a big honkin' chunkin' and, you know, even thicker than a Becker BK2. It's just going to be kind of a sharpened pry bar. But it's everything but that, honestly. Like, with that full flat, like really deep full flat grind and just that really fine edge and such on there, this thing is actually a very nimble knife. Like, I was actually very surprised by how nimble this thing is. Like, I would not pass this up as like a potential fighting soldier knife even. I mean, it's a bit on the big side, but it is very nimble, and we'll come back to that. But I was even just practicing with these hedge apples, and even with these, I could easily just take little bits and chunks out all day long. So, alright, so I downed a tree with the Becker BK7, but I got the Recon Scout out here too, so I'm going to try to test out some delimbing here. Oh yeah, this thing plows right through these limbs. You don't see very many CPM 3V knives that's this thick. I can't even hardly think of any that's this thick. Actually, even this is thicker than a 1/4 inch, so that's pretty neat in its own. Now, they used to make this in the 01, and I wouldn't mind to test out the old 01 version, honestly. Now, that coffin just handle stays in my hand pretty good, it being rubberized. If I was going to choose anything, there was just a bit more flair to it, like on my Huntsman bowie, it'd be perfect. But Cold Steel Recon Scout, it's a big chunk of knife, but oddly, balance and that full flat grind allows it to do some very fine tasks. I was actually very surprised when I first got this knife in hand, because I was like, man, I got knives that are a lot thinner and smaller than this, and it doesn't feel as nimble in hand as this knife does. Which goes to show that it's not all about just, you know, steel and such, but a lot of it more so goes down to just design and balance. Alright, so another test I'm going to try with the Cold Steel Recon Scout is I'm just going to see how well it bites in to this little stump here. This thing, with that full flat grind and that thick knife, let's just really test it out here. Yeah, that thing bites in amazingly well. And I'm not really putting much force into that. I'm just mostly letting the knife do the work. Well, trying not to keep hitting it in the same spot. There we go. I mean, knife is nearly sank all the way in Alright, so another task I'm going to try here is I'm going to do some notch making, just kind of a little bit finer task with this knife. Now this thing, you know, is just a chunk of steel. Perfect. Just pop that right out of there. Let's try another notch here. I'm going to see if I can chop through this log here. I can't get the best swing at it, but I'm going to give it a try. Oh yeah, that went pretty deep in there. This is a piece of elm too. Still got through it anyways. Let's see if I can get another chop through it. If I can get it to stand up. Oh yeah. Took a nice little chunk out of there. Popped it. Alright, so another task I'm going to try with the Cold Steel Recon Scout is this knife is a very classic style, just almost has a Western style, well, modernized Western style Bowie knife. It just has the coffin type handle, has the full guard on there, and so this knife is just asking to be just kind of a good old classic combat knife, and you know, by old school standards it meets that criteria for sure. It definitely has a good edge alignment, so I'm going to test it out. Let's just kind of get a feel for it. Now I will say something to make note on, and I've said this throughout. This knife, even though it's 5/32 thick and it's just a big chunk and hunk of knife, the balance of it is actually very decent. That it's actually a lot more nimble than what you would think, and because it has that kind of squared off but comfortable handle, it's very easy to index where you're striking with it. It actually even has a very nasty tip on it, so it's going to stab very well. Has a really good guard on there, just old school guard. Let's just do some straight up stabbing task. Maybe a little bit of prying. But this knife, even though it's that thick, as you can see, it's stabbing in really good. It does come to a very fine tip, and it even has kind of a sharpened swedge on there. So it's gonna stab amazingly well. This would probably make a pretty decent large combat knife if that's what you're looking for. Oh, something else to take note on too. I'm probably not going to do an attitude readjustment. It does not have an exposed tang pommel on here, so you know the pommel goes all the way, or the tang goes kind of all the way around this ring or this lanyard hold here, but it does not expose, and because it's rubberized, I'm not going to smack that on the tree. However, on a soft fleshy target that just needs an attitude readjustment, yeah, that would do the trick. Well, my friends, I'm going to wrap this video up. The Cold Steel Recon Scout, this has been a knife that I've really liked over the years. I haven't had it that long. I've had it about a year now, but I've really have adored this knife just seeing it. I've just never pulled the trigger on one. But I will say, if you just want that good old school classic Bowie knife with just that nice kind of feel to it, definitely check out the Cold Steel Recon Scout. If you can, get the CPM3V version. I really like it. With all that being said, be prepared both physically and spiritually. God bless and carry on.